speaking of the wide receivers, speaking of Jauan Jennings, it's always something with Jauan Jennings. He seems fine after the game. He talks to the media. He's not limping around. He's in a good mood. And then on Monday, he's on the injury report. All off season, it was his calf. That's not an issue anymore. Last week, it was his shoulder. That's wasn't on the injury report this week. Now it's his ankle. So I don't know. What's your reaction when you hear about the latest? What do you want to call it? Is it even an injury or the nicked? He's nicked up. What do you think about the latest instance of Jauan being nicked up?
You know what? I think it's a really interesting thing. On one hand, Grant, he is the guy when you put money on the table, JJ shows up. But now I'm starting to get the feeling that when money ain't on the table, he ain't going to show up no more.
That's what I was going to say. It's like, oh, you want to pay me $7 million this year? Guess what? I'm hurt for every practice, but I feel good on game day.
I'm Mr. Game Day.
Thing.
I can.
You want me to practice? Pay me.
Yeah.
Pay me. Yeah.
You can get hurt in practice.
I think he's going to play.
I think he is literally the wide receiver equivalent of Trent Williams right now in their eyes. Obviously, Trent's a Hall of Famer, but Jauan's got Hall of Fame status almost in the eyes of Kyle and John because of they love him. He's a dog, and he is a money player. But I'm getting the feeling that when there ain't no money on the table, he ain't going to do shit. So I don't think he's going to show up for practice. I don't think he's going to practice much. It's not that he's dogging it. I just don't think he thinks he needs it. And I don't think he's going to – I think he'll practice sparingly the whole season.
I kind of feel that too. Now, maybe Jauan's watching and he's like, wait a second. I love practice. My ankle hurts. Possible.
Possible.
But we don't know. But I guess to take him seriously, he's on the injury report a lot. He's been on the injury report a lot throughout his career, which is, I think, a function of how he plays the game and also probably a reason not to extend him. I mean, he's hurt all the time, a little hurt all the time. So maybe better to have him on a year-to-year type of a contract so he has at least incentive to be on the field on game days because he really does bring it on game days, no matter what.
They love him. They want him back. I think they're gonna let him because he's got a big payday coming, right? I mean, Colton took the money, and Jauan and his agent Rosenhaus took a little bump with the sights set on March. So that's what he's all about is March. So I mean, I think it's if you're the Niners, you want to be popular with JJ, and he's such a big money guy, he's going to show up on game day. So let him do whatever he wants through practice all season long. I don't care. Kyle, I know, doesn't care. It just doesn't matter. I mean, you got all these other guys. I mean, Ayuk makes big cash. I mean, Debo was making good cash, but where were those guys on Super Bowl Sunday compared to JJ? So I'm at a point now where I see their love for JJ. I understand why they want to replicate him, and I would absolutely clone him if I could. And I'd let him not practice. I don't need him to practice. I need him on game day. And if he wants to not practice all year, you know what? I got no problem with that.
You got Ricky, you got Demarcus Robinson, and the three of those guys together. Even if Ayuk never comes back this year and he's really more of a factor next year, that's a pretty good trio, especially when Kittle does come back. And I think what's cool about Jennings is he really carries himself like the alpha of the group. And I think the rest of the players look at him as the alpha of the group. Even when Ayuk was healthy and Debo was here, Jennings legitimately acted like he was better than them. And sometimes he is, man. I mean, he really took over that game against the Saints in ways that Ricky Pearsall can't quite do just yet. It's a hell of a player.
He's not just the alpha of the group because you're talking about receivers. I think he's the alpha of the room.
Yep.
I mean, the entire team. I think he's kind of like the guy. So yeah, I mean, I got no problem with JJ doing his thing, and I don't think they do either. They know he's going to show up on game days, and they're trying to help him get to free agency healthy, but at the same time achieving their goals. And their goals are all about, their goals aren't about practice. Their goals are about, playoffs and winning and that kind of thing. So I agree with you though. I think he's so key for them and they love him so much. You know, what's interesting? If he has a great year, he's probably gone. Because I do, even though they love him and respect him, they're not going north of 20 million for him. And so if his market grows beyond their means, then he's going to have a tough decision to make because they're not going to break their they're not going to break their budget for him, but they love him and they're going to give him every one of these things. It doesn't cost money. JJ doesn't want to practice. Great, make him happy. JJ doesn't want to do this. Great, make him happy. Oh, JJ wants 20 million. No, we're not giving him 20 million. But if he still wants to, not practice, and we're all about that. So I think that's
But the
my
main reason
read,
they
at least.
can't give him 20 million is because they gave Ayuk 30 million. And I wonder if they could go back in time and undo the Ayuk contract, if they'd be more open to paying Jennings, because $20 million for a wide receiver is pretty tame in today's market. And I think that he went from a guy in the Super Bowl who was looked at as a high level number 3 receiver, who to me is now a high level number 2. I mean, can you imagine? He'd be an upgrade over Cooper Kupp next to JSN in Seattle. Prize Picks will give you $50 when you play your first $5 lineup. Win or lose, you'll get $50 for playing. Use promo code COHN, COHN, and download the app now. He'd be a really nice number 2 next to Marvin Harrison Jr. in Arizona. I mean, there's a lot of teams that could use Jauan Jennings today and would probably be willing to pay him $21 million a year if he can at least stay healthy this season and prove that last year wasn't a fluke, which it probably wasn't.
You know what? You just jogged a thought in my mind, and I think that I would put my money on this outcome. If you said to me, how's the JJ thing going to proceed and progress beyond this year? You kind of put an idea in my mind. You're right. They can't pay him Ayuk money because they're paying Ayuk money. But they can let Ayuk get healthy, trade Ayuk, and give that money to JJ. And if I had to bet what's going to happen, I would bet on that.
I mean, Jauan has just made himself such a critical member of this team. And it's not that Ayuk isn't, it's just that he's not. I mean, he's kind of become a peripheral figure. You don't know what he's going to be when he comes back. He's overpaid, and he's not the alpha that Jauan is. He's not energetic like Jauan. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you know what I'm trying to say.
He's not as dependable.
How's that?
As Jauan. But I do think the more I think about it, the Niners love Jauan today. And they're not going to stop loving him tomorrow because we know why they love him. They love him because he plays big in big games. So they're going to play in big games this year. He's going to play well in those big games. And then my guess is they're going to get Ayuk back on the field late in the year, let him, play his game. And then in the early off season, move Ayuk for some underwhelming package of picks and give that money to JJ. That would be if I had to guess what's going to happen, I think I'm guessing that. Because I just don't think the Niners. There's a market for Ayuk.
I agree. I just don't think the Niners are going to mess with Jennings this year because he could be the Travarius Ward or Devondre Campbell. Like if they were to bury him on the depth chart because he's not practicing and say we got Ayuk and Robinson and Pearsall, sorry, I think he'd flip out. And the Niners right now, with one of the things they have going for them is that their locker room seems tight. They seem to like each other. They seem to be having fun. Jake Moody's gone. Debo's gone. Like all the negativity and dark clouds that were hanging over this team. Devondre Campbell's gone. And it seems like they're enjoying each other's presence. Jauan could upset that if the Niners don't do right by him. And I think they understand that. So I would expect him to keep getting a lot of targets.
One thing that's really interesting is that if you don't kill it in the draft, you have to dive in on free agency. If you dive in on free agency, you're adding veterans to your room. If you add the wrong kinds of veterans to your room, Devondre Campbell, you pay the price. So look at the veterans they added this year. Demarcus Robinson, he's been fantastic. I mean, I know the fans haven't seen him yet, but we saw him all summer. He was great. Mac Jones was a great addition. Bryce Huff was a great addition. I think they took more time in looking into the kinds of people and the motivations of the guys that they brought into the room, veteran wise, because those guys have an influence. And you're right, though. I totally agree with you. I think there was a vibe last year that was all wrong, and it was hard to put your finger on it. And then it just bubbled to the surface late in the year. But they don't have a Devondre Campbell. They don't have a guy in the room who's like, maybe Brian Robinson could be Devondre Campbell if they totally never gave him the ball. I could see him going south
because he's in a contract
never
year.
gave him the ball.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think they brought in guys that are adding to their mix and adding to their room, not in any way going, hey, you know what? In Jacksonville, we did it this way. In Washington, we did it. That kind of stuff is what NFL coaches. That's the reason they don't like going into the free agent market because everybody's got their own. Hey, man, Jaguars coaches were good with this. Well, that's them.